Welcome to this HelloID webinar brought to you by Tools Forever. Today we'd like to give you an overview of the new functionality in HelloID. We encourage you to ask questions. You can do this via the WebEx chat option. You can find the option here. At the end of the demonstration, your questions will be answered. I'd like to turn this over now to Cheered Sign-In, HelloID Product Owner and Manager. He will explain and demonstrate the new HelloID functionality. Please enjoy, and don't forget to post a question.
Jamie, thank you for the introduction. Welcome everybody. Happy New Year for everybody. This is a webinar for the latest release, last release for 2018, and then we come to ramp up and go for 2019. I'm very thrilled for coming year. A lot of new functionality in the pipeline. But first let me wrap up 2018, the 12th release. Again, I have a PowerPoint presentation. I'd like to run you through the major items, and then I'd like to demo the software, and I'd like to give you a heads up of the coming release, 2019 first release, the January release. Okay, first the PowerPoint presentation. First going to explain the new functionality. The new functionality now that you have the option as the requester in service automation, that you can see who's the next in line approver. So who's going to approve my request. So you can see who is holding up the request, and then you can corresponding action to make sure that your request is going to be approved. So you can see who is going to be the next in line to approve. Cascading components, so you can, that's in forms, again service automation, and in the designer now you can specify which component is dependent on another component. And so the contents of one combo select will determine if, for example, another combo box is going to be shown or not. And I will demo you in the software. It's quite easy to explain and show you how that works. We added a new component, password component, so you can retype the password and the component will verify if the retyped password is the same as the one you typed first. Easy functionality. We now support multi-factor option to turn that off if you have an OpenID target application. So for example, you have already two-factor authentication in HelloID. It doesn't make sense to do that again in the target application, and now in the setting of OpenID you can turn that off. Another option is ACS. It's a more complicated item, but if you have a SAML target application with multiple sections, you can go to one section in the application. Perhaps you have an enterprise and multi-international internet website, and depending on the section where you are, you're going to be redirected back to that particular section. And we have a more advanced option in the workflow that you can use the requester attribute to determine who's going to be the next in line approver. So that's more sophisticated than it was already today. We had, for example, the manager attribute, but now you can use any attribute to determine the next in line based on the attribute value of the requester. And again, I will show you in the functionality how that looks like. Okay, I will demo the software, and after the demo I will give you a heads up of the coming release. This is the January release. That's going to be 3.5 weeks from today. So now let me switch over to my browser here. So I'm going to log in as a requester myself, Cheered, and of course this is the requester, and I will show you the first option. Hold on. By the way, I just configured SSRPM integration with HelloID. That's now part of my demo environment, and this functionality is, this integration is available for more than, I think, even 2 years, at least a year. But it's nice to see. So if I click here on forgot my password, that's part of the Active Directory login, and then I can reset the password in my Active Directory environment. So I can go here, and you can go next. and now I need to wait until my phone rings, that the pin coder is being sent. There it is. And if I just type in the code I just received on my phone, I can reset the password in the Active Directory. That's the local Active Directory where SSRPM is available. Nice option, but I just, of course I know my password, I don't have to reset it. And now I'm in self-service products, and here I can request Adobe Photoshop. And now I will show you the first option that you can see who's the next in line approver. So let me request for a project ABC for 5 days, something like that. And let me change this. So I need this for 5 days, and then I request, and then I can see the next in line approver. So I can see who comes to approve my request to access Adobe Photoshop. So I could go to my products, pending approval, open request details, and now I can see that my manager, Koos Baartman, needs to give his approval for my request. And if he waits for a longer time, then I can remind him with the option. And it just requested, so the timeout is not being passed yet. But then if that's being passed, I can remind my manager to give his approval. I can also give him a phone call and see, or send him an email that he needs to give this his approval. Okay, the other option is cascading components in forms. So I need to go to the backend as an admin. So now I'm logged in as an admin. It's another browser, and I can go to a form. So let me use this form. This is the create user form. Let me go to edit. So this is the existing one. It's just password with the hidden password. And let me delete this one. And this is the new one, confirm password input. So if I use this one, I can type in the password, and then I have to retype the password, and then it checks if it's okay. I think I can actually test this. So let me type something in, but then I do something different. Type 2. So then he says that that it's not the same. So these passwords differ. That's basically the new password component. Cascading, that's I think more interesting and more powerful functionality. Suppose I want to make the type dependable on the location. And see here I can say that if the location, so conditional visibility, and then I type dependent on the location. So suppose I say that if location is USA, I want to hide the type. So let me update this one. So if I go here, I can actually test the behavior. And if I do USA, then the type is shown. But if I do the Netherlands, then it's hidden. Type. Condition, okay, the field is visible. Okay, so let's say if I say this is not the USA. So if it's not the USA, then it's visible. So I just did that the other way around. So if the Netherlands, then it's visible. If it's the USA, then it's not visible. So now it's hidden. So I can turn this on and off, and so now it's non-USA. So it's being shown. Okay, that's the cascading components in the forms. I already showed you the password component. The multi-factor in OpenID, I cannot show you that. Same for SAML. The approver, that's an interesting option. Approval workflows. So let me show you that new functionality in the 3 approvers. Here, approval, and let me change this this option. So here I can say, suppose I say I want to do department, and I switch here, and now I can say that it is the keyword department. So the attribute is the same as the department. This basically means that if anyone that has the same attribute value for department as the requester will be the approver for this request. And I can actually test this. So here I can see who is also part. So I have to look myself up. Let's say I want to, who's going to be the same as myself here. So let me choose this one. So this basically means that only 2 people have the same department code as myself. And of course I can look for people, so I'll only find this one. We actually did this for if you have multiple people, more than 6 actually, you can actually search for a person. So this is the emulation for Tjeerd Seinen. It looks up the attribute value for Tjeerd Seinen and all the corresponding people that have the same department attribute. And basically that is, in this particular case, this is Jannie Huisman. Okay, this is basically the functionality I just want to show you. Okay, so let me go back to the PowerPoint presentation. Let me switch over. There we go. Okay, I also want to give you a heads up of the coming release. That will be end of this month. That's 3.5 weeks from today. And let me give you a heads up of the functionality that is coming. So the new stuff that's coming in the 1 release, 2019 first release, January release, is a new theme. So that's in this section. If you go to admin portal and let me go here in settings, appearance, and there will be a new theme. So you can change the look and feel for the end user. So we will be adding additional themes. The other option here is you have a user selector, so then you have a combo selector, can be on the Active Directory users. It will not be scoped yet, so that will be in the next release, in the February the 2 release. Then you can actually scope which users will be visible for the requester. Markdown description field, so that's a markup language for the forms, so you can make the forms more appealing with bold and underlining, but also with images. We will be adding a date and time component to the forms, and we will simplify the user events object. Well, let me show you what this is. A little bit difficult to explain, but easy to show. So if you go into the events here, and I have the user events, and I go here. I have a user select here. And if I start typing, this is new. This is also available here in the persons, but this is now for the user. And this is not 100% correct. So we will make this, you can actually see that's not really 100%. So we will fine tune this and make this really easy to use. So there will be more auto completion of the information that is available for filtering in this event object. So let me go back to the PowerPoint presentation. And this was a request. We will build this based on request of multiple SAML users, that you can have this RSA encryption key. I think the majority of the time we're putting in provisioning, and that will be the first 6 months of 2019. So until the end of June, we will be spending a lot of time on making provisioning completely available in HelloID. It is already available, so components are already available. I showed you this diagram before, so all this stuff that is on this sheet is already available, so you can already set up a connection from HR with mapper information, map that on the ID fault in HelloID. It will trigger events, you can map that information onto task and execute that in target systems. You can also see the event, the browser, you can browse the fault, you can see the history, and you can see which events has been triggered. That's already available today, and that's going to be part of the new module in HelloID provisioning. Stuff that will be added are complex functions in the mapper. You can link target systems, so you need a linker. You can have naming convention that needs to be added. You can also do the evaluation, so even if nothing is changed in the source or target systems, you can run an evaluation on top of your vault, and that will trigger events that will lead to insights, so you can see what's going to happen. So suppose 100 persons will be triggered, you can see in the insight who's going to be triggered, so you can actually set a threshold on that, and that will fire off the events. This is another option, and that will also be very valuable for the service automation, that you can put tasks in sequence and that you can pass information from one task to another. Alright, that's it for today. So this is, I think, important that for too quick is these are the new items that we will do in the next release, one release. And then we will continue to add stuff on provisioning. So the stuff that I just showed you on provisioning will be added the coming 6 months. So that's important to know. Of course, it will not be available in the January release. Okay, thank you for your attention. Jamie, are there any questions? So let me go back to too quick. Let me go to the questions. Jamie, again, do you have questions from the audience?
Hi, Tjeerd. Thank you so much for that demo. Yeah, the first question, what will happen with the section Service Desk in the HelloID menu bar?
That's an interesting question. So let me switch over to a manager portal. So I'm logged in as Koos, that's my manager. And my manager has this option, Service Desk. So as a manager, he can reset passwords for example, for myself. And he retrieves, or this application now retrieves the password complexity rules, etc., etc. This is part of the service desk, and this is a separate section in HelloID. So your question is, what's going to happen with this option? It's actually quite interesting question, because if you look at the forms, that more and more functionality will be part of the forms, and so over time, gradually, we will make this end of life, and all the functionality that is part of the service desk will be part of the self-service product. It's actually quite interesting because I have configured an option here, forms. So what you could do is say that this category forms is also available here as a menu option. That's an option you can configure in HelloID. So now if I go here, it can be very equivalent to service desk, then and label it as forms. I can choose any name I like, and I can include any category that I like. So I can make it more flexible and customizable. This basically means that if we come to make this end of life, you can create your own forms. That will be part of self-service. You put them in their own category, and then you put them in the menu bar, and then you basically have the same functionality. A bit of a long answer, and hope I answered your question. Jamie, I see that there are more questions.
Our next question, will HelloID provisioning be a separate module?
Yes, that's I can answer that very quickly or shortly. Is there will be 3 modules in HelloID. Currently there is access management with all the SSO options. There is service automation with the self-service products, with the forms, etc. And there will be a new third module, and there will be provisioning, and that will be officially available in July this year. So there will be 2019, the 6th release. That will be officially provisioning available. Provisioning is already available. You can see that it is part of HelloID, but it's not yet as a module. You can actually not buy it. You cannot put it in production yet. Next question, Jamie.
My next question, have you scheduled the option to make combo boxes dependable on each other?
No, this is not scheduled yet. So combo boxes will not be yet dependable on each other in the forms in service automation. So suppose you want to make a selection of departments that you only want to see users from that department in another combo box. Then those combo boxes are dependent on each other. That is not being scheduled on a short term. It will take at least a couple of months before that functionality is available. Next question, Jamie.
Yeah, last question here. HelloID currently does not have a pre-fill for form entry fields. So for example, I want to retrieve all OUs to select from. When is this option available?
Not on the short term. On the short term, we will expose the user selector, most likely also an OU selector, a group selector. That's actually quite straightforward, and that will also be scoped available. One of the other options we will make available, but not on the short term, that will take another couple of months too, but it will be available, that you can connect a task to an entry box. So then you can execute a task, retrieve, for example, a query on a database, on a query on your Active Directory, and use that output as an input selector on your forms. So then it will be very powerful, very dynamic, but that will take a while. So then you can have a task executing and the results will be used in your form. Okay, thank you. That was it. That was the last question, Jamie. Thank you for your cooperation. Thank you all for your attention, and hopefully I will meet again in February when we have released the first release of 2019. Okay, thank you and have a very nice evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.